Howard's in Watford. Howard, what would you like to say?
Oh, good morning, James.
Hello, mate.
I think, first of all, xenophobia has always been part of this country, and I put it down as the United Kingdom. You can go back as far as the Saxons and the Normans and the Romans. There was always xenophobia. But I think the current situation goes back a little bit further than Osama bin Laden, and it goes back, I think, to the late 70s, early 80s, when you had an influx of immigrants coming into this country, quite rightly, looking for a better life, and the Muslim Council of Great Britain came out with a statement where they said they will not be happy until this country is ruled by Sharia law.
What year was that?
And James, I think it was end of 70s, early 80s. It is something I can remember watching on the news. I can remember reading it in the papers. And they said they will not be happy until their flag is flying over Downing Street.
The Muslim Council of Britain was only founded in 1997.
Well, then it must have been, okay, I apologise for that. It must have been whoever was speaking.
Well, we need to know who it was. I mean, if it was big enough to make the national news, we should be able to work out who it was. We know who it wasn't. Who do you think it might have been?
It may have been a before the Muslim Council. I'm using that as a name, but it may have been. But it was certainly people talking for...
Well, the preparatory committee met on the 15th of June 1996, so we've got that. What came before that?
I mean, it is documented.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find. Where should I look?
I have a look on Google because
I am. What shall I Google?
Muslim statement on Sharia law in the UK.
Yeah.
Let's see what it comes up with.
Yeah.
But I can certainly remember this statement, and I can certainly remember the seeds being laid.
Now, yeah, well, I know you think you can.
Okay.
Let's have a look. When did you last check?
When did I last check? I haven't,
Well, you haven't checked since the 70s. You've been subscribing to this memory for 40 years without checking that it's true.
Hold on. I'm not having a go because what I'm saying...
No, nor am I. I'm just trying to find the thing that we're talking about.
I know it's true because I can remember it, and I can remember...
But when did you last check?
I'm sorry, James, I haven't checked for quite a while.
Okay. So you've rung in to tell me that the Muslim Council of Britain said something before the Muslim Council of Britain existed, and you're certain it happened, but you haven't checked for 40 years.
Hang on. But let's make an assumption. Let's make an assumption that I am correct, and that Osama bin Laden, who by no means was a fool, can see the discontent being spread amongst Western society.
Yes, but that was spread after he started spreading murder and violence and terrorism around the world.
It was spread by both sides beforehand.
But you can't point to when or where. You've just got a false memory because it certainly wasn't the Muslim Council of Britain, which didn't exist until 1997.
Right.
I mean, just know it's all right.
Okay.
We're assuming you're correct, but we know that you're not, which is a fairly odd conversational device.
All right, let's assume I'm correct. All right? Now...
Well, I don't think we can. That would be like ringing me to tell me the moon's made of cheese and then insisting... Right. I mean, I just want one piece of evidence that anything you've said to me since you came on the radio is true. Can you provide one piece of evidence?
If you give me 2 minutes, I can look up on Google.
I will, yeah. Go on.
Let me just see.
Remember, we're going back to the 70s.
Yeah. Let's have a look if I can find anything. Wouldn't you know I haven't got a data connection right now.
Well, let's assume you have.
Okay, but all right, I'm sure if I am incorrect, people will phone in, and I'm sure if
it's not really how it works. You need to be confident that you're correct before you phone in, otherwise this happens.
Okay, I am absolutely correct, but without evidence.
Well, no, we do have evidence that the Muslim Council of Britain was formed in 1997, right. So you're definitely not absolutely correct.
Let's see. Well, before then, it could have been elders of a community. It could have been... And
they were all over the news for years, you said?
Not for years.
Well, you said 70s and 80s.
I said it could have been in the late 70s or the early 80s that this statement was made.
Yeah.
And this statement was made.
Okay. Have you got any data yet?
No, I haven't got any data.
Okay, well, I have. So what I've done, why is Sharia law allowed in the UK? I've done statement on Sharia law from 1970s. I've got nothing. Anything else you can think of?
Well, no, I can't. But Or listen, you're in the journalistic world. I'm sure you can find out.
Well, I have, but you keep telling me that I need to assume that I haven't. I've established exactly how accurate your comments are, and you keep saying let's assume that they are accurate when I've proved that they're not, and you're still talking.
Okay. Well, then, in which case, go back to your main point then with Osama bin Laden. This country has always been xenophobic of people coming into it.
Because that's what you started off by saying.
You're right. And it's true of today. People like Boris Johnson just play on this fact and play to the audience.
Right.
This is what he's doing.
Yes, but you're part of the audience because you believe, erroneously, that the Muslim Council of Britain made statements in 1970 that explain why some people allowed their xenophobia to take hold, and we've established that they didn't. Should we call it a day, Howard, now?
No, but I will send you a message.
Should we call it a day?
I will send you a link where you'll find it.
Okay, but it won't be the Muslim Council of Britain, will it? And I know usually when you ring this radio station you get away with stuff like this, but not between 10 and 1, mate. You just can't. You know, someone's got to make a stand. It's just not true what you said, and you're going away convinced that it still is. Take care, mate. God bless.